Welcome. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. Welcome to the trenches, from the trenches. Welcome to the forum. Welcome to this little wrap-up stream for what's been a day, a marathon of a day. Welcome, Lucian and Beniamin.
Welcome. Welcome to all of us. It's definitely been a day, and I think the day is just starting. So it's I have some I've been hiding somewhere.
Some little Romans.
Yes, but the Romans have got me. I'm trying. I'm trying to move.
How are you doing, Lucian? Where are you at?
I'm in the arena. By the way, welcome to the arena. This is the trenches is a floor or a level underneath. I would say today we're in the arena. I'm also here with my gladiators. And actually, I was just to make a funny joke. I think Gladiator is a very good name for the U.S. Army version for Optimus Prime. I think Gladiators will be, if I may actually claim this name, would be the version of the robots that will. Benjamin, I think the Gladiators are also still close to.
Let me fix that 1 second.
If you can change the mic, maybe, and then also you have by the way, an option to put the voice isolation. I'm not sure if.
Let's bring
Yes.
so just today in terms of like where are we at? This stream is supposed to be a little bit bringing it back to the big picture. We've had some discussions today. The proposal was introduced, the draft. There was a walkthrough. We just had a semi-fiery AMA. Discussing some specifics. So I think it's a good sort of time to take account of maybe what happened, but then also contextualize why we're even doing this, why we're even here. So, maybe just reintroduce sort of some of the most important thinking that went into, coming up with a new governance proposal for the economics, and then 2, doing it in the way that we're doing it in the arena, getting out there, hearing everyone's thoughts. I'll start with you, Beniamin, and then.
Yeah. So I think the easiest thing is always to have this idea in your head, and then just magically expect that something works out. You don't do anything, and then something pops up in front of you and it just works, and everything works and so on. But the reality is life is hard. Every startup you try will naturally fail. Every idea you have at some point at the start, at first, sucks. Every idea you put out into the world, people will take to attack, and they will cut it in half, and then if something is interesting, they'll say it's stupid, it's crazy, it can't be done. And then if something is left, once an entire day passes, if something is left and you're still alive and breathing and having a conversation, then you should count yourself as being very lucky. So what I'm stating here is I intentionally state that we do not expect this to be like a streamline where we just launch something, propose, everyone is magically excited and happy, and then tomorrow it's all passed. No, debates are debates. It's fine for people to come from different standpoints, from different ideas, but the important part is also to take a look a bit. Where are the people coming from? Are they aligned? Are they in the same boat? Do they want the same thing with you? And then looking at the arguments, always just validating the arguments, seeing if the arguments have weight. Those are almost the basics. Now, if we look at what we've set out to do, when we launched Elrond, we set out to do that looked very crazy. at that point. When we've changed and had the conversation about EGLD, again, we set out to do something that seemed contrarian, ambitious, bold, and maybe slightly crazy. And I do think even today, if we would only, you should know, and this for the community, whenever you see something coming up and there's literally no balls into it, no boldness, nothing exciting or crazy into that, you should wonder whether we're held hostages and it's maybe someone else taking over the accounts. Coming more down to earth and coming to the intentional point. I do believe that we have a new economics model that solves a few key things. One, it solves incentives for the people that want to put in liquidity, put in investments, and get a yield to secure the network. I believe that is very important. Second, builders and revenue are crucial in this conversation, and the revenue of the network is really, really important. How we're doing that, how we're incentivizing that, we propose a very special proposal for that. Then validators and users and so on will benefit tremendously by everything we've been putting into the. But the point here is, the questions for us to answer are this: do we want to be in the US? Do we want right now to tap into the crazy macro potential and adoption, regulatory structure and market structure that are happening in the US right now? And then, do we want buyback mechanisms that tap into the market structures, the market vehicles that are used by several chains at this point? I don't think someone would answer no, except if they're from a different ecosystem maybe, or are not necessarily aligned and so on, and that's fine. I mean, people can be from every camp and they can tackle things. What's important, I think, is looking very much at the objectives and determining for yourselves, do I agree with the objectives? Do I want this type of growth? Then looking at the mechanisms and thinking, can I improve the mechanisms? Can I come back with something that's simpler, better, more interesting, more elegant from different points of view? If you can, this is the challenge. This is the open challenge. This is why we're here in the arena. And then lastly, outcomes. Can I have something? And I'll press on this during the next few days and maybe share some thoughts on it. Can I have a DAT that essentially absorbs half of the supply in the network? Because then the entire sentiment will change, the entire adoption, the entire liquidity, and everything that we want will change. And I think people up until this point have not maybe looked at the different options, and it's up to us to share these perspectives, give some space for the people to think about them, and also give some space to improve them. At the end of the day, I expect some people to take every word, twist it, turn it into a knife, and come to stab you with the knife. This is why we have the Roman images, because once you're in the Colosseum, once you share some ideas, unless those ideas hold water, stand ground, they will not survive. Everyone will try to tear them apart, but that's for the better. We're not here to stick with some ideas. We're here to find the best solution. If I get a better solution to 100x the Eagle price faster and have everyone happy, that's what I'm looking for, right? I will open this challenge to sort of anyone out there, and this is what we've been, let's say, researching, thinking, reading, looking at, and I think it's simpler to not go in the arena, simpler to never, let's say, stick with the path until you die, but that's not us. That's not Elrond. That's not MultiversX. That's not this community. That's not the builders that are around. We have always just pushed the limits, and I think that's for the better. Resting my case here. Maybe
I'll kick it to Lucian because we talked about the US right before the stream started, and yeah, I think you were just there, had some conversations, and maybe share some perspectives also on, like, let's say the bigger picture of that as not just an ambitious goal, but something that you guys see as a necessity to move forward and play in the big arena.
I'm just laughing and smiling all the time as I'm reading the comments from all the platforms that they are aggregating. I must admit, I
Shout out to the chat. We see you. We love you.
I literally cannot stop laughing and smiling while reading through the feedback and all the crazy things that people post in that chat. It barely has anything to do with what we're talking here, and I see Bobber coming on top and all that kind of stuff.
Can I say one thing before
Yes,
I kick
please.
it back? Like, I have this little thing here. One thing that is special about this process, other than doing all of this and dealing with the comments and all of this, is you can actually participate. You can actually join the discussion. You can actually make suggestions for approval, like Beniamin just mentioned. There's an app for that. It's multiversx.com.
wow.
Please go there and help us, shape the future of this network. Back to you, Lucian. Just a little ad.
I'm just gonna close while I'm talking a bit the chat app just to be able to focus. But one question actually that is extremely good, and then the question was, what the hell are we doing in US? What happened there, and why are we pushing that hard? And I'll start with a personal experience. I've went to LA, I think a month ago, to the All In Summit. All In Summit is an event organized by the All In podcast, organized by the three tech billionaires and their fourth co-host, or the host of that. Pretty much the guys are either initial participants in, for example, top biggest companies in the world, like Chamath being part actually, and one of the guys in charge of growth for Meta, David Sachs actually being part of initial, like being the CEO of PayPal, initial team among Elon Musk and so forth, and now also basically building up towards the uh, crypto and AI czar for the White House administration. Now, very interesting actually. Besides that, they have the largest audience for entrepreneurs in the United States, and the highest density, I would say, of ambitious people coming all together for the summit. It was for me very refreshing to look at one thing. If last year those guys actually brought the entire politic agenda, where they brought it home and made sure that the current president actually is being elected and taking a front seat in the most polarizing discussion in that country. Now, going 1 year after that, and looking what their agenda is, what's the macro agenda in the US at the most relevant, I would say, event for startups or companies in the space in the United States, was fascinating to see that I think half of the companies that were seated at the same table, at the same seating space among Elon Musk, Google founders, among Palantir founders, who were the rest? Like, if the last year, again, just restating, if last year were politics, what is the agenda for this year? And it was fascinating to see that at the most ambitious bets in the United States as we speak are put particularly in the crypto space. But now, stepping back and looking, where are we now? If I look at the macro, or if I look at the markets, especially for us, for many other ecosystems, for altcoins, it's a very big mess. Now, the question is, what do those people see and bet on with their careers, with their most ambitious, like with the highest stakes in the world? in those companies that are about to announce products or participate or lead the crypto industry as we speak, what do they see that we cannot see from our seat? So just stopping here, coming from Europe, where we literally don't appreciate anything, like where this industry has no future, where everybody has no plan, and if I look around, there's a handful of builders that have managed to literally ship something that is being recognized internationally, especially from this space. Now, quite I was again fascinated actually to see that on the main stage among Elon Musk, right, few minutes before, most of the other founders were actually in crypto and announcing or preparing for an IPO, preparing to lead the industry and drive the industry. Nasdaq CEO announcing on stage that they are doing and bringing the markets on chain. With 24/7 operation systems. Now, in what world are we living, and how much the delta should be that we cannot price in any way, or we cannot foresee this? Now, few steps, and then I'll try to close the loop. Few steps further, what happened also in US, just to give a bit of alpha and what people are expecting. The next days after that, we went and actually did almost a world tour. We went through several states, entered and been invited to several government states actually, and government officials in the same day we landed in that state, and had the most relevant discussion with the senators in the United States, where they have done their homework about who we are, have done their homework about what we have built, and have offered actually their support and try to convince us where should the next MultiversX headquarters be located in. Now, this is an alpha, and then also giving a bit of space why those processes take a bit more time. And I'll few more steps ahead. I'll also give the mic to Benny again to drop some stuff. But few steps ahead, what was again very interesting, the guys actually not only brought us through the government officials and through the process of offering the entire support for us to locate there, but they also brought us to the regulators just to make sure that they actually can show us the power of a government, how fast they can incorporate the needs of a company like ours or for an ecosystem to thrive in the right environment. Now, again, the next fascinating thing, one of the guys that was actually part of the blockchain task force, he was also being one of the founders, I would say, from some very renowned and big companies in the space, such as Kraken, BitPay, and so forth. I won't be able to disclose more. But then discussing around that, they said one particular thing and said, look, for you to be in the position where you are right now, to be alive, be in US as we speak, and discuss this kind of opportunity with the products that you have shipped, especially in the country where there is the largest pile of liquidity, and while in the last 5 years most of the companies have dissolved or died, even though against all the liquidity is it in this country, you are extremely lucky, and you have an extreme potential to build and ship and dominate. Now, this is the only bull case where I can, and I have seen and been part myself in this kind of discussion, and coming home, I'm wonder, what the hell are we doing here in Europe? Like, what the hell are we literally discussing those days where there is literally no bull case? There is literally almost no narrative where we are united to conquer anything. And I'm stopping here. Now, this is how much of a delta it is against what I've seen, what I'm living, and where we're trying to bring this ecosystem towards, and where we are today, and what we're discussing about. Muting myself, and I hope this gives a bit of even though I can be very funny and listen to, this is a bit what I'm living into.
Let me kick it back with a specific question, because we wanted to keep this space kind of just short, to the point, and brief and informative, to wrap up the day on these with this information and context, right? Like with this context or that Lucian just provided, Beniamin, like what is the need that you guys saw to evolve the economics model, and specifically what are sort of the incentives that you see that this one provides over the other for new investors coming in, especially from the US space or more risk areas with more risk appetite?
100%. So I'll just take three very concrete examples. I was mentioning the DAT. The DAT requires a kind of investment that's probably between 50 and 100 million dollars to be put in place and to start a vehicle that then has the mission to only acquire tokens from the market, to do everything in its power to raise new capital and buy back from the market, raise new capital and buy back for the market. I think it's very hard for people here in Europe to believe that this is legal, this is best market practice, and this is what financial engineering looks at its best. And to think that Michael Saylor has done this for the past 5-7 years for Bitcoin and is responsible for maybe one of the lion's share of growth for Bitcoin. That's one direction. Second, the ETF again requires a kind of seeding, so that as you put things in place, there's a few different stages. There's the phase of submission where you file a form with the SEC, with the regulators, and so on. There's a process of approval there, and then a kind of deposit of between 35 and 50 million dollars. I'm stating this type of numbers just for people to have an idea how the game is played, and then how people are looking at this, and then also what does the ETF again bring, that, and how is it different for the from the DAT, where the DAT is one company whose purpose is just to buy this, to amass as much of this digital asset as possible, because the NAV, the value of that on the stock market, is larger than the value of the asset on the exchanges generally. This has been the reason, and so there's a arbitrage there. There's a reason why people want to buy the stock of the token, amassing everything. And the last point is, of course, as you enter into this market, the more people are aligned, the more people have bags, EGLD bags, the more natural the conversation is. And so I'll come back to one of the things that I thought I should write something about, but never got to it because we had to prepare the economics discussion. As we were meeting with this business people and regulators and so on, we met with one guy, one person, very young, very high energy, very into the business side of things. And I asked him, hey, so did you invest early in the crypto space, Bitcoin and so on? And how do you look at things? Like, what's your outlook, what's your strategy and so on? The guy looked at me, said, like, stood for 1 second and then said, sure, 100%. I invested in 2015. And my strategy is I only buy. For these years, I only buy. That's my strategy. And then he said, I with this strategy, I think I can go a very long way. So
a mini DAT.
Yeah. Without
a one-man
yes,
DAT.
Yes. He was doing it. He was doing it for himself. But what I'm pointing at here is the outlook, the perspective, the appetite. When all these things do not happen for the first time, when you've seen it happening in a few ways with stocks, then with technology, then with crypto, you have a very different perspective, right? And I think this is in some sense what Europe requires the most. If you don't have at least one good example where people can say, we've made an extraordinary amount of money because of this technology, we want more technology or whatever, that then there's not even a good conversation to be had. People invest just in real estate. And I don't have anything with real estate. That's good. That's nice. But you need also some bigger bets, bolder bets.
I'll jump in and just add 2 points first, because again, just open the chat discussion again, and then wanted to first say, yes, we do think that, and would never take the credit for Europe, because this is where we come from, this is where we grow, and this is actually where we built everything until
We
this
will
point.
continue to grow.
Yes, but there's a journey of most of the companies, even how large they were in Europe. That's the default evolution of things. And again, just giving a pausing here and saying first, we're not discounting in any way and we are extremely grateful for that. Now, I think wanted actually to build on a second point, but yeah, I just need to remember. Actually, I went to
The Europe.
We'll come
yeah.
back to that.
Europe will always be in our hearts, but I think Europe requires a bit of a push and a bit of a kind of renaissance. We had this idea a few years back, if people remember, the renaissance of European ambition. I'm not sure, something didn't land. Maybe it was renaissance. Maybe people did not. I'm not sure if it was the ambition or the renaissance, but I think there's potential is extraordinary. People are brilliant. Now it's all about trying to make some things happen, both in Europe, in the US, and wherever we may be. I would love for Europe to maybe put some more clear regulation, to be more aligned to the crypto space, to want to tap into this technology with institutionals, with capital, and so on. But I will leave some space for Europe to do that, while we're trying to push some in a faster way.
The good part, we're here to be to bat with us, and we're happy to receive all the support here as well. I mean, that's the beauty of it, to explicitly actually be able to build. And I think we're lucky to be alive, and not only alive, literally build something that has not been built before.
100%.
Yeah. So as we wanted to keep it to around half an hour or so for this, it's like this next chapter, right? Like something you mentioned in the first Foundry session yesterday, Beniamin, and I want to get both of your input on this. There is, and we're talking about the roots and everything that's been built here in Europe and where this is going now. Like, contextualize a little bit, maybe the achievements that have been made, or everything that's been built so far, the achievements that Elrond and then MultiversX has, and how that fits into the US and the new narratives and the new sort of path. Like, we're obviously looking at Supernova. We just had an announcement with X Money. There's X Portal. There's the X Exchange. There's a tremendous stack of tech and infrastructure that's been built. Like, what's the plan for that? Why now? And where is this going? And whoever wants to start, I'll just pass it to each of you, and then we'll wrap it up after.
Sure. So first of all, I think the most important thing is timing. Timing you cannot choose. There's many things that are in our control that we can put all energy on. Timing is not one of them. This awareness of timing comes usually very late in life, once you hit your head against the wall for a few years, once you try to nail it a few years, and then when you see it, it is like true love. There's nothing that can tell you, hey, this is not, it doesn't work, whatever. This is the timing that we live right now. I would almost congratulate whoever is alive, is not bitter. It's not, he's not a cynic. has not lost their minds in the desert that we've been with the entire crypto space for the last years, I would congratulate you. Appreciate the toughness, the robustness, the resilience of actually staying alive. And then I'm stating this with consideration of 2 points. One, markets can do their own thing. Even though I have my intuitions, I have my predictions, my overview, markets will always do their own thing. And on the other hand, I think there's nothing like the policies that we've seen right now in the US that will cascade on a global level. That's the most important push in the market. And make no mistake, this is why what's happening today, what's been happening in the last few days, and what will continue to happen will hit the market in a very positive way. The regulatory structure, market structure, and then all the investors wanting to put money into this space. That's almost the only prerequisite you need to be able to do something. Second, of course, beyond timing, you need to have worked for years. Worked your ass off during the nights, during the weekends, during like all days possible with the team to build something that is exceptional in terms of performance, a network that can accommodate internet scale performance. That I brought this idea, this metaphor that I think people will get much better, the fiber network for finance. Fiber network is just a simple idea that you should be able to move money at the speed of light. And it doesn't mean that what we've built will only be about finance. It just means that as we are right now at this particular moment, this set of use cases is extraordinary. It's tangible, it drives revenue, and uniquely positions MultiversX for what we build, which brings us to this unique point. If you look at what we're building as a fiber network for finance, then all of a sudden we have a mountain of effort that reappears in front of us. We have the network with Supernova, it becomes this frontier technology. We have Xmoney, which has achieved a massive milestone. And I'll congratulate the team for the push, for the focus. And we also dropped some alpha about them and a possible listing. I cannot neither say something about that or deny it in any way. But the point is that I very much appreciate the effort of putting this in. And why is this relevant for MultiversX? Well, that's sort of a kind of launchpad. If you wanted the launchpad as the market start, Xmoney is your launchpad. You can just tap into this, see how it goes, see where it goes. Most important, it brings a stablecoin, a native stablecoin to MultiversX that again is very tangible and so on. And beyond that, there's payments as a use case for Xmoney. And then I was mentioning wallets and exchanges. Wallets as this very natural path through which everyone can interact with any kind of applications, money, whatever you're trying to build. And exchanges as the most important application that you find in a wallet. If you look at that, that's the global financial stack. With that type of infra, you can interact and rebuild some of the applications that exist out there. Now, we have the biggest release that we call Supernova. It's coming. It's 90%. And we're super excited about that. I'm not sure how many people saw the stats that I put there, that 1 year of effort, nonstop, was just put into Supernova by the team. Again, big congrats to the team, big congrats to the people. Summarizing, timing is there. Timing is exceptional. We have this massive breakthrough that is coming and is going to launch. We have the plugging into the US market because that is crucial for the technology to be valued. And we have an opportunity to make the economics the fire. the initial ignition moment that reawakens the investors, reawakens the people, the stakers, the users that have been all these years with us. And I think you're going to see some very good progress on this as you understand each of the milestones, each of the steps. There's a process, it's a conversation, and we would love to hear ideas, feedback, thoughts, and we'll also bring back the polls discussion, because I'm not sure who has seen that or used it. Polls, just for context, is an application through which you can essentially just vote in real time, start some polls and vote in real time, not on the governance directly, but actually just take the temperature. How many of the people would vote yes today? How many of the people love the staking incentives? How many of the people would want the DAT tomorrow? You can do this type of conversations where there is skin in the game. And that is crucial, because you'll hear many voices, many people trying to claim that they're community, but what prevents a DDoS attack, a mental DDoS attack? What prevents a Sybil attack mechanism? You know, when you see the trolls coming in and eating you alive, that's just a different type of DDoS attack, just a different type of Sybil attack mechanism. Because when you put skin in the game as the filter, all of a sudden, random people cannot claim that they're part of the community because they don't have skin in the game, they did not put the time, and so on. So this is just my 2 simple cents from the Greek. I will switch between the Greek agora and the Roman forums, depending on the temperature of the conversation. But yeah, we very much looking forward to hearing your thoughts, and expect a kind of interesting gladiator conversation, quote unquote, as we are navigating toward the conclusion. Lucian?
Definitely. I'll take one more question from the chat. Can you share whether any enterprise or VCs have signaled that they'll participate in the new economy? Yes, I can confirm that, and yes, they have signaled very much. Now, and I'll build to the last point. I think everybody wanted particularly to see some other kind of discussions from us, besides, and especially from me, talking about the next technical release, the next product specs, the next feature release on any of our products. Now we're having this discussion. Now we're literally gonna be spending the next 2 weeks together to shape the next path for the MultiversX and EGLD. And I'll close with one point, particularly to the noise that is going to be generated around, and especially thinking that on the importance of where do you get the sentiment about what you feel, what you read, and what is the state of the trenches or the state of the arena. Pulse, it is a very strong point. Everybody else, I would translate to a point. Very simple, actually. Taleb had a very simple principle, which is so-called never get in a plane as long as the pilot is not in it. Now, listening to all those guys that are pretending to have a plane, that are pretending to be with you on the plane and try to help you steer the plane, think about that they are very much on a different plane, and they have no interest allowing us to succeed. This is a very simple principle that I very much ask myself. When are you giving me an advice? Are you very much with me on the same plane? Are you having a stake to literally care about the success, or you're trying to drive my plane somewhere else? But again, welcome to the arena. Happy to have the conversation and closing I think the night.
Yes, thanks to both of you. Thank you for everybody following. I will one more time bring up the address for post there, but it is also, of course,
bring the donation address.
the donation. the funding round. Pulse.multiversex.com. This is also on your mobile phones if you have Xportal. So you can actually navigate to it from the comfort of your home and pocket. I don't know
We should
where
pin
that metaphor
actually
went.
the polls for the next 2 weeks. We should pin in Xportal the application just to have it as a very very accessible shortcut, and always relate to that, and very much looking actually reading the polls.
Exactly. So make sure you get involved there. Make sure you not just do your own submissions, but look through submissions. Once we gather a bunch, upvote the ones you like. So you know, to keep the conversation extremely relevant, make sure you you know, participate in the spaces. Bring your ideas. Tomorrow and on Sunday, we'll have more time to kind of process the proposal in some more detail through community spaces. This will be mostly for the community to gather and you know, discuss what's happened so far and how they want to get involved. And then on Monday, we're kicking off the forum with real debates on each of the sections of the proposal to surface the best ideas and make actual changes if they're needed to the draft that is existent right now. So this is very much a participatory process. If you have EGLD staked, you are at the table with everybody else. So we're looking forward to seeing that play out. It's going to be extremely exciting. I do think it's never been done like this before. So this is a great first, something that I'm personally very excited about. Today has already been a day, and you know, that's not going to stop for quite a while, but we're all going to be much stronger for it. So looking forward to that. Thank you, Beniamin. Thank you, Lucian. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Get involved, and we'll see you on the other side.
Take care.
See you.
Cheers, everyone.
Have a good night.